There is a special place in hell for child predators, and I imagine that if Dante's Inferno were rewritten today, it would involve a level dedicated to wood chippers. As to how to protect our kids in the world of the living, well, we have certain tools at our disposal for that. And now, according to court documents, we have a case of a mom using exactly those tools, saving her daughter from a predator attempting to attack her. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Now, today's topic is for some reason controversial, and so to be allowed to report on this story on YouTube's platform, I'm going to have to institute a certain amount of censorship here, where y'all are going to have to fill in the blanks. If you're watching on Rumble, well, I'm not creating a whole separate video or file for this, so sorry, you're going to have to do the same. I will tell you that this story is not for the faint of heart. So, as the story goes, back on May 24th at the Baymont Inn on Eagleview Drive in Indianapolis, according to court documents and the police, a woman left her 12-year-old daughter in a hotel room with a 39-year-old man named Bruce Pierce to go get her car. When she returned, she found Pierce on top of her daughter, who was screaming no. The girl's shirt and undergarments were ripped. The mom pulled out her gun and shot Pierce multiple times. Unfortunately, when police arrived, he was still alive, though critically injured. A warrant was issued for his arrest on charges including the thing that rhymes with grapes, child molesting, unlawful possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon, and confinement where the victim is under 14 years of age. The girl, too, was taken to the hospital to be checked for injuries and because she was struck by Pierce's gun. Now, the story behind how this scene unfolded and got to this point has been uncovered by local WTHR 13. But before I get there, I'd like to pause and remind everyone that we never want to find ourselves in a situation where we have to defend ourselves or others in this way, but sometimes it happens. In those situations, you want a lawyer in your corner. Now, you might have your own guy that you have on speed dial. In my case, I trust the Attorneys for Freedom with that duty. They are, to my knowledge, the only law firm in the country focused on self-defense cases or defense of your children. And the Attorneys on Retainer program allows you to have a lawyer in your back pocket at all times, a mere phone call away. Under this program, it is their job to give you legal advice and represent you if you use your gun in self-defense. They are not an insurance company, and that is important because it means that when you call their hotline, you talk to an actual lawyer and not an insurance adjuster. It also means that they do not have the same fine print as insurance companies, so their only requirements are that the incident happened after you signed up and that you reasonably acted within good faith. They cover everything from felonies to misdemeanors, appeals, and even bail bonds. It doesn't even matter if you are technically a prohibited person. And this year, they have added a bunch of new features, including coverage for red flag hits. So switch over from your existing self-defense coverage today. Hopefully you never have to use it, like in this story. And head on over to my link down in the description, and you can use code LibertyDoll to get $50 off your individual sign-up. Now, this is where things get a little murky. According to the child's grandmother, they learned that Pierce had been communicating with the 12-year-old girl online and over the phone. They found out that somehow in the course of this communication, Pierce tried to convince the girl to run away with him. But that, it seems, is different and separate from what unfolded in this story. And as a quick aside, I shouldn't even have to say this, but there is always at least one in the comments when I cover something like this. It does not matter that the child was talking to this man online beforehand. Clearly, this is not what she wanted to happen, and she is 12, so she cannot consent. So do not even try to show up in my comments saying, oh, well, she was talking to him, so this is probably what she wanted to happen. Again, she is 12, he is 39. There is no consent there. And frankly, I find that suggestion disturbing. The girl and her sister woke up on May 24th when the girl's mother didn't come home. So they went and they woke up their grandma, and the kids and grandma went to the Baymont Inn to look for her, and they found the mother in the hotel lobby with Pierce. Now, we don't know how exactly this happened and under what circumstances, because they took the daughter to Pierce's hotel room and had her wait there while they brought items to the car. Now, the little girl told the cops that she stayed in the room when the others left because she was feeling sick. According to her account, when the mother, grandmother, and sister left, Pierce invited her to sit on the bed. Then he grabbed her arms, pinned her to the bed, and started ripping off her clothing. Luckily, everyone else came back before it got any further. The mom began shooting, scooped the kids out of the room, and drove away before calling the police, initially just to report the attempted you-know-what. They returned to the scene with the police, and it was at that point that the police learned he had been shot. Originally, it was reported that Pierce was released from the hospital without being taken into custody. He also had a room at the Regal 8 Inn where news outlets said that he'd last been seen in the early morning hours of Tuesday, May 27th, 3 days after being shot. But according to Fox 59, police said he is still hospitalized. Court records show that he was previously convicted of 2 you-know-what cases in 2016 and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Now, that being said, a government database with his incarceration records lists a previous projected release date of August 2022 and a third sentence in 2020 for the same thing in a different county where he was sentenced for only 1 year. He is on the Marion County Registry with lifetime status and is listed as a serious violent predator. He also apparently works for a waste management company. Online access to the court documents for this case seems to have been revoked, so unfortunately I do not have the details on that exactly. I can only go by what the news outlets that did have these documents are reporting. We don't know what the mom was doing at the hotel with Pierce, but we can take our guesses. If this was a magical to catch a predator type deal, the mom wouldn't have left the kid in the room alone with him, leaving us to draw the conclusion that other bad choices were made. We don't know if she works at the hotel, if she was dating this guy, what, but not the best situation. Either way, we can at least be thankful that this mother was carrying, and at that point, made the right call. So moral of the story, folks, be careful of who you bring into your lives and your children's lives, monitor what your kids do online, and most importantly, keep your powder dry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. I don't have to give you the list of all the algorithm things. You know what they are, you know how to do them. As always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there and keep your children safe, and happy shooting.